Well, welcome everyone to Discover Downtown. This month, we'll actually be doing something different with Discover Downtown and changing up the format of our tours. This month, in celebration of Women's History Month, we'll actually be creating a self-guided public art tour in the Fayetteville Street District that features public artwork made by local women artists. We're really excited to be working with four local artists to tell their stories, and this is just the first of one of four interviews that we're going to do for Discover Downtown this month. So we're really thrilled to be hosting HERstory. Again, we'll be creating a public art tour that'll be available online for anyone to complete, as well as doing these four different artist interviews. Today, I'm actually joined by local artist Elisabeth Flock. And so we're very thankful to have her here today. And so we're going to get right into the conversation. Elisabeth, just, tell me a little bit more about your story and how you got into art.
Well, my dad sort of raised me on like fantasy, like he would always read us Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter and stuff. So I just always had an interest in art as a kid, and my family really cultivated that. They were like, yeah, here's more supplies, keep doing the thing. And both of my sisters also are artists, so we all were very like, this is what we want to do. And my mom is a science teacher, so we sort of like my sisters are really good at like anatomy and stuff, and I've been focused lately on like insect anatomy because it's so cool and so tiny, but it's like the closer that you look at it, the more things there are to see, and like it just keeps going forever. Like the closer you look, there's more detail, like no matter how deep you get. It's crazy.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. I mean, I love that your parents like nurtured your artistic skills and like pushed you towards that. I think that's some people don't always get to be that lucky and parents aren't understanding. So that's awesome to hear. So my next question is, what kind of art do you produce and why?
um it's hard to label it, but I do like the names like psychedelic art slash like surrealism slash like visionary art is like a new term to me, but it's like a offshoot of psychedelic art that's more like spiritual and like connected to nature, and it's really awesome. And so I don't know if I can describe my art as that necessarily, but that's what I aim for, I guess.
Awesome. I mean, and would you say like that new style of art inspired your Art Beats project at Nash Square?
Well, it's more like my love for bugs, and also my like steeping in ephemeral art as of the past few years. So like Mendy, like henna designs and stuff are a big part of that, but also I was looking really closely at bugs and plants last year. So it's like a combination of like what I had been doing and what like 2020 sort of like shoved me into. And like cicada is really symbolic of like, emerging into like something more beautiful.
Yeah.
A lot of insects symbolize that, but cicadas are really dramatic and big and cool looking.
I
So
think
they're
that's like a great segue towards the next part of our conversation today. Is just talking about this amazing piece that you created, and that's based at Nash Square. Can you tell us more about the project, just a title, or how you ended up selecting that you were going to go in this direction with this project?
well, I knew I wanted to paint some giant bugs and some Mendy designs, right? But like when they accepted my application and they're like, well, where do you want this piece to be? And I was like, well, it's definitely got to be in a park. Like Moore Square needs art too, but I also just love Nash Square because it's got giant like trees, and there are a bunch of cicadas that live there. And
Yeah.
so it'd be perfect to have a giant bug and be like, oh, what is this creature? They're all around you. So people would walk by while I was painting and they're like, what is it? Is it a butterfly? Is it a bee? And I'm like, well, no, but do you hear them? They're going. That loud, annoying noise that you hear, that's
Yeah.
them. They're like, oh, I was like educating a bunch of people on cicadas while I was painting out there.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Cool.
excellent. I love hearing that. I mean, a lot of the public art that we're starting to see downtown is emerging from that Arts Beats program with Office of Raleigh Arts and the Department of Transportation. So I know I'm super thankful for that partnership and that they've employed a multiple artists to install, these amazing sidewalk murals. I remember last year when your piece was in the works, and I was like, oh, I'm so excited to see something like this in Nash Square, just because it's such a historic place, being one of the original public squares in downtown Raleigh. But to see it bring, a new form of interest in life and public art to that space is just so exciting, because, in the other corner, there's one mural, Maze by Chika, I may say her last name wrong, Chika Gujarati. I'm sorry, Chika, if you see this. And then I know there's another mural in Nash Square, by Sarah Lane Calva. And so I'm just excited to see, some of these other places come to life with public art. And so that takes me to my next question. Is this your first public art project, or do you have other ones under your belt?
I would say that there is a yes and a no to that. And what I mean is that I've done some murals like inside of restaurants, or like maybe the closest thing to being outside was the doors that I did at Alibi Salon. So, but it was still like a place of business is mostly where I've done stuff. The other like out in the public sort of street art that I did was just in chalk, and it was for SparkCon. So that counts because I'm like out there in
Yeah.
complete public at like a festival sort of thing. And it was part of like, a temporary art project, which I love doing that. It's fun.
How long did it take you to complete this piece?
Uh it was probably like 8 to 10 days over the course of the whole month of September. There's lots of like rain days, and I was doing other things sort of, and like as this mural started, and then like all this other stuff came up, and it was like I hadn't done anything all year, and then September was like, okay, time to start doing stuff again. Okay, like I started taking some entomology and horticulture classes, so plants and bugs. So I was doing that. It was starting in August that I was doing online classes at NC State, which has been really cool to learn like the science side of it, but also it influences my art because I know the anatomy better.
Yeah. So when doing this project, did you have any major hurdles that you had to overcome or figure out to like make this possible?
Well, when I originally applied to do the Art Beads project, I thought I'd have like a space that was like 4 feet by 4 feet, or maybe 6 feet by 6 feet originally. But whenever I was in communication, I was like, well, just give me the biggest space possible. Like, I want to make it like big, like a big bug. And they're like, okay. And they gave me this huge, like, I don't know if it's 12 or 14 feet. They gave me this huge circle, power washed all of it. So I was like, this is mine. This, I'm like, I want to spread my wings. And they're like, here you go. And I'm like, oh my God, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
It
And
was just
actually
huge.
that helps me get to the next slide, because this is a great aerial photo of the piece, and just you can see how the scale and how you definitely went outside of, just that original dimensions you were thought you were going to do, and how it's just the scale is just amazing, and like how much it takes up, and the beautiful bright colors in Nash Square. So it's definitely one of my favorite Art Beats project.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
my partner Colin had a drone, and so
Mhm.
he took a picture of me, and it was, yeah, I'm like, Colin, you need to take the drone out there. We got to do it. I gotta lay on top of it so everyone knows.
You deserve it. It's your work. It's amazing. Um, that takes me to another question. If, one thing that happens with public art sometimes is that there are budget limits, and a lot of the entities out there, creating public art are doing it on a budget. And, sometimes that can strain creativity. So I want to ask, if budget was not an issue, what kind of public art would you want to create and why?
Oh, just the craziest stuff. Have you heard of like Meow Wolf, or like other like immersive art experience sort of thing? So like they decorate absolutely everything, and it's like going into like another dimension, and
Ooh.
it's so cool. And
Yeah.
I got to practice a little bit. Over the month of January, I was decorating this like barn. So I've been working at a farm, but like doing arts and crafts with the kids. Like it's like the agritourism farm. So
Ooh.
they have lots of baby goats, and like people just come there to love the animals, and like that's the whole point of the farm basically. So they had built this haunted house, and then it was decorated for Christmas. And then I was like, what you gonna do with it the rest of the year? Can I do something cool? And so a couple of my friends have been really talking about the immersive art experience sort of thing. And I'm like, we can practice at Spring Haven. Like, so it's called the Love Shack, and it's like still Valentine's themed, but also like spring themed. And I'm gonna put giant bugs in it. You know I am for, for the summer. I'm working on some right now,
Yeah.
and I'm very excited.
I definitely encourage you to stick to what you know, and it seems to definitely seem like you do nature and bugs very well. So, and I think one of the things that's so beautiful about your piece is that it's just unexpected. Like you, again, you wouldn't think you're gonna walk into Nash Square and see something like this, or see public art with a bug featured. Um, but I think there's a huge story to tell there. Could you remind everyone what cicadas represent, or why you decided to like position that as the main piece of your mural?
Well, I think my obsession with cicadas started when I actually saw what an adult cicada looked like.
Mm.
Like we were shown the little husks of the nymphs like in elementary school. That's all I remember. I don't ever remember them being like, here's an adult cicada. Look at all the crazy designs. Look how big it is. Look at its puppy dog face. Like they're really cool and really cute to me. And also they symbolize like rebirth, which, important for a year like 2020, like
Sure.
you know maybe this is like the seed phase and we're gonna like sprout into something excellent because of all this like stuff that we've had to go through. And like I think all insects can represent that, but I just really like cicadas because they're really cool looking and just really big and really nice. Like they can't bite you, they don't even eat while they're adults. Like they don't have a mouth. They're
Interesting.
just like, yeah, they eat a lot as babies, and they live for like anywhere from 3 to 17 years underground, and they just like drink like tons and tons of tree sap from the roots. But then when they come out as an adult, they live for like a couple weeks and they don't eat anything. So if you like find one, you can just hold it and it crawls around on you and it can't bite you or sting you or anything. And people are like terrified of them because they're huge. It's understandable. They're really loud and they fly at your head. That's sort of startling. But yeah, they can't bite or sting or anything, and they're just fun. They like crawl around. They got like interesting leg motion.
Yeah. While we still have this image up, what does the sun, and I'm assuming that's a moon at the bottom, represent for the piece?
Well, for a cicada, they're, since they're only alive in their adult phase for a couple weeks, they're up a night and day.
Okay.
So, I mean, for a nature piece, putting the sun and the moon, and it makes it like a little mystical seeming too, like it's like a giant spell or something. But yeah, for cicadas, they're awake night and day. And then I just like putting weird faces, but it also kind of represents like multiple perspectives on how you could look at 2020 as a year.
Yeah.
Like obviously terrible, but also just as obviously very good if you spent your time wisely
Yeah.
and like were able to like snap out of the depression of everything being crazy and be like, all right, I've got time to work on stuff that I don't usually have the time to work on.
Yeah. I hear
So
you. I feel like a lot of artists definitely felt the similar to you. And so as I've been having conversations with other artists, it's really interesting how, this past fall and winter, a lot of public artists around here, or artists completing public art projects, it had a serious undertone with it, because of the year that we had with 2020, but also like created space to reflect and think and be grateful for the future. So I think that was interesting how a time and an experience like the pandemic that we're living in influenced public art, and also how these amazing artists are also breathing life back into the downtown or cities, and again, creating conversation about something that's happened to us, but also pushing us to move forward. So really thankful for the amazing work that you've created in downtown and helping to beautify it. So just can't say enough how appreciative I am and
Well,
my
thank
company is. Okay. Well, that actually takes me to ending our interview today. One question before I leave you, Elisabeth, is, as a community, how can we support you as a working artist?
Well, I mean, I don't know if the community has like direct like power over this, but I mean, if there can be more art projects like the Art Beats project, I would be so down, and I don't care if it's temporary. Like I love stuff like that. Like I don't really know.
It's
Just I mean, I think the art community in Raleigh is pretty strong as it is, and they have lots of programs supporting artists and educating artists, like not just with their art, but also with like business type stuff and legal type stuff. Triangle Artworks does a lot of work helping artists like be successful. And they're like, here's some resources that you might not have otherwise known
yeah,
about. So I don't know. I think generally the art community is very self uplifting, and I guess just keep doing what you're doing because they seem like it seems like it's really important to them at least at this moment to
yeah.
like up our community. So I appreciate that.
Well, one thing we all can do at least is go to Instagram and follow Elisabeth there. You can also go to her website listed right here on this slide, and you could purchase a piece from her website or her Etsy shop. The directions to the Etsy shop are also on her website. But again, I want to thank Elisabeth for her time and for having this conversation with us, and also creating that amazing piece of artwork in Nash Square. If you have not seen it, please go see it. Look out for our public art tour. And you can utilize that tour to go visit this piece. Before we wrap up, I want to just say thank you to our sponsors who help us host this program monthly. Without you, we would not be able to continue Discover Downtown. So we're very thankful for that. And as viewers at home, we encourage you to stay connected and support Downtown Raleigh. You can do that by following Downtown Raleigh Alliance on social media. You can also go to our website and sign up for our weekly newsletter that informs everybody about the news and things happening downtown, businesses reopening. You can also visit visit downtownraleigh.org/discover downtown to access that self-guided public tour that we're creating. And you can also visit our blog to learn more about women-owned businesses in downtown Raleigh. So with that being said, I thank you again for tuning in today for this HERstory interview with Elisabeth Flock, and we look forward to seeing you at the next one. Have a good one.